As a child walking along these shores, my mother told stories about the many fascinating kingdoms that were widespread in my ancestral homeland. Being an important trade port and an oasis of nature for explorers of China, Arabia, and Europe, Sri Lanka had its history of many monarchs for over 2000 years. I used to learn about this one particular place where the conquering Cholas constructed Hindu monuments and were eventually defeated by a king named Vijayabahu who restored Buddhism to its former glory. A place that was secure and safe from invasions, even allowing the bodhisattvas to house the most precious Buddhist relics in one of the palaces. The apogee of this magical place occurred in the 12th century, where King Prathama Bahu created a fabulous garden city filled with many tanks. He was replaced by a king named Nisankamala who stabilized Sri Lanka during his period and renovated many shrines. However, his death brought instability and decline to this majestic place, and in the end of the 13th century it was abandoned for hundreds of years, only to be discovered much later. Today, my family and I are about to visit the ancient city of Polonnaruwa. The second most ancient of Sri Lanka's kingdoms, Polonnaruwa was first declared the capital city by King Vijayabahu I, who defeated the Chola invaders in 1070 AD to reunite the country once under a local leadership. We are leaving Colombo around 4:30 in the morning in order to see the vast, intricate network of architectures that stretches for 4 kilometers long. On our journey, I couldn't help but to enjoy and appreciate the serene and natural beauty of this majestic island. Here we have Sri Lankan street food, boiled corn dipped in salt water. Hopefully it tastes good. The time is about 10 past 9 in the morning. We decided to stop for some brunch. Here we have some appam, a Sri Lankan version of pancake, dal curry, kingfish curry, and some spicy sambal. Back on the bus with just half-hour northeast of Polonnaruwa is Minaria National Park, which covers an astounding area of 8,900 hectares. The centerpiece of the Minaria National Park is the large Minaria Tank, an artificial lake built at the behest of King Mahasena in the 3rd century during the height of the Anuradhapura kingdom. We decided to stop and immerse in the beauty and appreciate the work that was put towards its construction. park is home to 24 species of mammals, including the deers, sambars, tok macaques, elephants, sloth bears, and the endangered Sri Lankan leopards. The arid dry zone is also a paradise for many species of lizards, snakes, and the Muga crocodile. This area is also home to a diverse bird population, including the beautiful painted stork, pelicans, eagles, hanging parrots, and the hornbill. A half-hour ride later, we have reached our destination. The centerpiece of the hallowed city of Polonnaruwa is a complex known as Dalada Maluwa, the Palace of the Sacred Tooth Relic. This is an elevated area that is home to 12 magnificent Buddhist shrines. The entrance to this place is through stone steps. At the base of these steps is a stone slab with 3 carved figures: a man pointing towards the Dalada Maluwa, a crow, and a dog. It is widely believed that this is to inform the people who come to worship the tooth relic to behave in an appropriate manner, or they will be reborn as crows and dogs. One of the marvelous structures standing tall in Dalada Maluwa is the Satmahal Prasadya, a 7-story pagoda-like building which is unlike anything else in Sri Lanka and has left many archaeologists mystified as to its origins. Similar Buddhist shrines can be seen in Cambodia and in Siam. It is thought that this building was constructed for the Cambodian soldiers who were working under the king as a place of worship. The building has 4 entrances from 4 sides. Additionally, there is an exterior staircase to reach the upper levels. This magnificent structure towers 30 feet in height and has detailed artwork on its exterior walls. As you can see now, most of the artwork has been destroyed. Right adjacent to the Satmahal Prasadya is an ancient shrine known as the Hetadaga. This building, along with the Atadaga, are the 2 sacred temples that housed the tooth relic of Lord Buddha during the reign of the Polonnaruwa kingdom. There is a stone slab next to this 12th century building that credits King Nisankamala with its construction. However, there have been debates as to who really built this structure. Some say it is King Parakramabahu I who built it, and King Nisankamala renovated the shrine later on. Reason for this debate is because King Nisankamala is notorious for taking the credit for things others have done by just doing renovation work. In design, it is similar to the Atadaga with 2 floors, but is much larger and is surrounded by stone walls. The upper floor is believed to have housed the tooth relic. On the ground, the remains of 3 standing Buddha statues are visible. What you are looking at now is the rear of the Hetadaga with detailed sculptures and carvings that is prevalent in its exterior. Here we are about to enter the Hetadaga. As you can see on the left hand side, there's a stairway. And as we pass this doorway here, there are the 3 Buddha statues. The massive 26-foot slab of stone known as Galpata lies by the side of the Hetadaga. The inscription on the stone were deeds recorded by King Nisankamala with a particular focus on his genealogy and the wars with the Dravidian invaders from South India. The text is written in 3 columns and contains over 4,300 characters in 72 lines. Beautiful carvings of 2 rows of geese form the border of the side of the rock. Between this design are two stone-carved elephants sprinkling water on goddess Lakshmi, the Hindu goddess of prosperity. Similar in structure to the Hetadaga, the Atadaga was built in the 11th century by King Vijayabahu I. It is considered the first structure to be built after the reign of the Anuradhapura kingdom. After defeating the Chola invaders, the king took the sacred tooth relic and other artifacts of Lord Buddha and enshrined them here as a place of worship. Originally, there were 3 Buddha statues and only the center one remains intact today. This structure was built on 54 stone pillars. The Velakara inscription stone on the left to this building is of significance. This is written in Tamil and points to the fact that the protection of the tooth relic was done by a hired Tamil army and not by the Sinhalese. Here you see an intricate and detailed engraving on one of the 54 stone pillars here in the Atadaga. All the focus and detail in the engraving and sculptures point to the fact that the kings of Polonnaruwa had a rich and diverse appreciation for the arts and religion. The statue of Bodhisattva in the center of Dalada Malwa is at an elevated level compared to other structures. The arms of the statue are missing. It is unclear whether this statue is of King Nisanka Malla or a Bodhisattva. The Nisankalada Mandapaya is a fascinating structure consisting of stone-carved pillars. Each of the pillars resembles a blossoming lotus flower in a stem. The top of each pillar takes form of a lotus flower. A small shrine can be seen in the center of the building. The engraving on the pillars strongly indicate that this is the place where King Nisanka Malla listened to spirit chanting and meditated. This marble building is surrounded by a stone fence, just like the Hetadaga. The image house known as Tuparama Pratima Guruhaya is one of the few buildings where the roof is completely made out of bricks. Miraculously, this structure has survived over 900 years. The roof is semi-cylindrical in shape. It is thought that this building was either built by King Vijayabahu I or King Prathamabahu's minister named Mahinda to house the tooth relic. The walls of this building are about 2 meters thick, and inside there used to be a large seating statue of Lord Buddha. Obviously nothing remains of that statue today. It is said that the eyes of this Buddha statue was embedded with precious stones and the windows were designed in such a manner that the sunlight would reflect on these stones and light the image house. Now these Buddha statues you see are carved from mica. If you bring a candlelight closer, you could see the detail in the carving. As you can see, somebody has lit a candle for Lord Buddha and kept some flowers by his side as an offering, which is a common practice in Buddhism. The ancient structure known as the Vatadaga is a circular relic house built for the protection of a small stupa at its center. It is a structure of elegance and beauty very rare in ancient Sri Lanka. Though the stupa house was built before the time of King Nisankamala, he carried out major renovations on this building. Hence, the Vatadaga brings to life the magnificent work of King Nisankamala. There are many other Vatadagas in Anuradhapura and Medigiriya, but the one in Polonnaruwa is undeniably the most remarkable structure of its kind. There you see the Thupamara image house. Originally, when the building was constructed, there were 4 beautifully carved Buddha statues surrounding the stupa. However, at the moment there are only 3 statues remaining. The statues are of significance due to the curly hair on Lord Buddha, which is not found in any other Buddha statues. 4 sets of beautifully carved stone stairs lead to the upper level from 4 sides. There are remarkable and sophisticated guard stones and moonstones that are visible in the side of the staircase. The guard stones on the eastern side of the temple is said to be the best guard stone of the Polonnaruwa era. Here are some engravings on the temple's side wall. There's an engraving of a lion, another lion, a small lady, and this is a Nagaraja guard stone. Here we are making our way up to the location of the stupa. As you can see, the stupa in the center and surrounded by the 4 Buddha statues. See, the one statue there in front of us is destroyed, and there is the stupa. Here's the other Buddha statue. Now, it is widely believed that this building used to have a wooden roof, and you see on the bottom there remnants of pillars as we walk by the 3rd Buddha statue. Now there's the 4th Buddha statue. Now if you look at this statue very closely, you could see the curly hair on the side. It is very rare to see statues of Lord Buddha with the curly hair. What you see now is a moonstone, which is at the base of the 4th stairway in the Vatadaga. It is also very common in other buildings. There you see engravings of an elephant and a horse. We have just left the Dalada Malwa complex and are about to explore other areas in Polonnaruwa. Finding Hindu Devayalas amongst a Buddhist monastery is very unique and special. However, there are 2 Shiva Devayalas located in the ancient city of Polonnaruwa. The Shiva Devayala number 1 is believed to be constructed in the 13th century AD by South Indian invaders. This was constructed according to the Pandya architectural style. This Devayala is built mainly using granite. The work is very precise and no plastering were ever used to connect the granite stone to each other. Currently, Only the ruins of god image can be seen. Here you could see that the granite stones were finely cut and placed without any plastering being applied. There is the Shiva Lingam, which is still worshipped today. The Shiva Devyala number 2 is the oldest temple found at Polonnaruwa. This temple was built according to the Chola architectural design. According to the inscription on the stone wall, this Devyala was built in the 10th century by King Rajaraja I of the Chola kingdom as a monument to his wife. We are entering King Parakramabahu's royal palace complex. Built in the 11th century by King Parakramabahu, it had been a massive wood and stone structure with 7 stories in height. The dimensions of the palace's floor plan is an astounding 31 meters by 13 meters. This monumental palace was an imposing edifice with rich decorations and elegant stone carvings. The remaining walls of the palace are of extraordinary thickness, with a drainage system that is intriguing and innovative for that period of time. Many archaeologists believe that the large holes you see in the wall held massive wooden structures that formed the floor of the upper levels. Inside the palace, you can see parts of melted brick walls caused by intense heat when this place was set on fire by the Tamil invaders at the end of the Polonnaruwa era. According to the main palace, there are remains of more buildings where the ministers, soldiers, and servants lived. Built by King Parakramabahu, the royal court is situated in front of the royal palace. It is embellished with lion portals, graceful pillars, and a moonstone. Built on 3 layers of solid rock, the border of the first layer is decorated with carved elephants, each in a different posture. Second layer border is carved with figures of lions, and the last layer with images of Vamana. The entrance to the building is through 2 beautifully carved lion statues. When this structure was originally constructed, the roof had been supported by 48 beautifully carved stone pillars laid in 4 rows. Lying within the palace complex, passing the royal court, is the Kumara Pokuna, a pond made out of stone slabs. This tank had been used during the period of King Parakramabahu. The crocodile statues on the side pumped water into the pond. There were pipelines under the pond, and all the water was diverted to paddy fields in order to be reused. We have just left the palace of King Parakramabahu and are witnessing a beautifully carved statue standing 11.5 feet in height. Popular belief is that this is the statue of King Parakramabahu. Another belief is that this is a statue of an Indian high priest. There is a small unidentified and destroyed chaitya closer to the statue. It is believed by some that this is the burial ground of King Parakramabahu, and this stupa holds the remains of the king. The Puttagal Vihara is located a short distance from the statue. This building is thought to be a Buddhist library complex and a place where Buddhist writings were studied and resided. The original name of this Aramaic complex is not known. This brick building is built on 4 stages. On the 3rd stage, there are 9 buildings which are thought to be places where the priests lived. On the very top floor, there is a circular building with a dome-shaped roof. Varying from the usual Buddhist architectures, the Lanka Tilaha Vihara is one of the most emblematic structures of the ancient kingdom of Polonnaruwa. 2 massive walls, each with a thickness of 4 meters and a height of 17 meters, form a narrow aisle leading to a very colossal 14-meter height Buddha statue. Built by King Parakramabahu I, the shrine is a definite deviation from the usual Buddhist architectures. Instead of the abstract symbolism of the dagoba, the attention is focused on the giant figure of the Buddha, which fills up the entire space in the shrine. The exterior walls are decorated with stucco figures and architectural models. On the right balustrade, there is an exquisite carving of Nagini, the female counterpart of Nagaraja. Lying north of the Lanka Tilaha Vihara is the Kiri Vihara, built by Queen of King Parakramabahu named Subhadra. The original name of this building was Rupavati Stupa. This stupa is the second biggest dagoba in Polonnaruwa today. Also, it is the only stupa to survive over 900 years and still remain in its original condition. There are many restored small stupas around the Kiri Vihara. These have been identified as burial chambers of high priests and royals. Many of these, including the Kiri Vihara stupa, had been attacked by treasure hunters and their valuables looted. And there is a monument that declares Polonnaruwa as a UNESCO World Heritage Site. We are entering Ranghot Vihara. Built by King Nisankamala, the Ranghot Vihara is the largest dagoba in Polonnaruwa and 4th largest in Sri Lanka. This dagoba had followed the traditions of early stupas built in Anuradhapura. The enormous dagoba measures 550 feet in girth. the dagoba are image houses and flower altars set in the white sand terrace surrounding the stupa. At the four central points are Vahal Kadasa, or front entrance enclosures built of bricks with 4 flights of steps providing admission to devotees. The inscription on the stone seat in front of the dagoba says that King Nisanka Malla used to supervise the construction of the Ranghot Vihara. Another inscription on the platform to the south narrates that King Nisanka Malla used to worship the dagoba from the pavilion. Rock Temple is unparalleled amongst such ancient monastic edifices and illustrates some of the best examples of ancient Sri Lankan sculpting and carving arts. This temple comprised a group of colossal Buddha statues carved out of a granite boulder. The statues consist of a large seated figure, a smaller seated figure inside an artificial cavern, a standing figure, and a reclining figure. The seated Buddha portrays Buddha in meditation. Here, the Buddha is seated on a lotus flower. The rock behind the statue is decorated with carvings of Vimana. 4 smaller Buddha statues can be seen on these carvings. Next is a smaller statue of Buddha carved into the rock. On the sides of the statue are 2 deities. It is believed this carving represents Buddha's visit to heaven called Tushita to preach to his mother. It is said that this statue was painted with pure gold, and treasure hunters had burnt logs on the statue and melted the gold. Most prominent is the standing statue of Buddha with a height of 7 meters. According to archaeologists, the pose and the facial expression of this Buddha carving shows his supreme compassion towards the suffering. Next to the standing Buddha is the reclining Buddha with a length of 14 meters. The head rests on the right palm, while the left hand is stretched along the left side of the body. The dent on the pillow, caused by the weight of the head, and the slightly drawn-in left leg add life to the carved work of poise and balance. It is said that this is Lord Buddha at his death. centuries, Polonnaruwa was a royal capital of both the Chola and the Sinhalese kingdoms. From the audacious King Vijayabahu to Parakramabahu the Great, and finally to the vainglorious Nisankamala, the ancient kingdom of Polonnaruwa reigned supreme as the capital city of Sri Lanka. These monarchs planned the city as a grand statement of imperial pomp, transforming it briefly into one of the great urban centers of South Asia before their own excessive ambition virtually bankrupted the state. Eventually, Polonnaruwa began to prove vulnerable to invasion and had been abandoned to the jungle, where it remained unreclaimed and virtually unknown for several centuries. Polonnaruwa's extensive and well-preserved remains offer a fascinating snapshot into medieval Sri Lanka and makes it one of the most majestic and revered kingdoms of the world.